yeah.
We record when it's so I'll do it by enforcement. How many times has that happened? Just. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, just. And another who shows.
Tap on.
Nope. Yeah, so I said, start if you want. Otherwise, say, huh? Anything about Tony or? I guess Randy says it's time to go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eternal Father, Lord of heaven and earth, we offer this meeting of our council to you and ask you to bless it with your wisdom and guidance. We ask you to enlighten our minds to know what is true and just, to strengthen our wills to carry out faithfully what we come to see as our duty. Amen.
Amen. Approval of minutes from May, pages 1 through 10.
Can we find any spelling errors?
Any questions or comments? Make a motion to accept the minutes, or I'll accept the motion.
Motion to accept the minutes. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Right.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Miscellaneous correspondence. Questions or comments? Being none, Craig, would you read our attendees, please, for us?
Dale Smith, Jeff Horvath, Nate Petrosella, Vera Scroggins, Joe Hunt, Melinda Darrow, and Alice Walsh. And then Truzak.
Adoption of the agenda.
council, mayor, and treasurer, and Craig parking on Public Avenue, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and both of them under action.
Yes, please.
Any other additions, corrections? I'll accept the motion to adopt the agenda with corrections. Is there a second? All those in favor, aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Accounts payable. Paid. We warned you about that at the last meeting, solicitor. It's important, we may take it. I'll accept the motion to pay the payroll.
Make a motion to
Payables.
Payable.
We do that too, actually.
Do everything. Let's pay everything. Pay the payables. Motion. Motion is seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Payroll. Motion made to pay the payroll. Questions, or is there a second? Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye. All those opposed? Accounts receivable. You've got complete control now, Bertheimer does, finally rustled away and kind of in order.
Yeah.
Where do you get the big first Okay.
Shares.
like shares of fireworks? Okay. No problem. Any questions or comments? Treasurer's report. Motion to accept?
Sure.
Second.
Second.
Motion made. All those in favor, aye. All those opposed? Budget report.
you know, the total for the year.
Yeah, is that reflected in that column?
It's gonna be in this, there's two different.
Oh, all right.
Does that make sense what I'm trying to
Yep.
explain here? It's how I have to do the report now.
Okay,
No, I have a question.
you're gonna change, how about telling me?
Okay.
No, I'm just picking on you. I had a
No.
question, because it looked to me like, in the old style budget report, $75,000 in police, part-time police salaries against $90,000 budgeted.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case. Nobody was wondering.
Yeah, see, I do January through December, the whole year, and then,
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, I can change it whatever you guys would
Yeah.
like, and then I do January through the end of the month that we're
Okay.
in,
All right.
so, but I can do
And
whatever
then
you
what,
prefer.
that 90,000, what does that represent?
That's what was budgeted to, where are we?
410, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
410.
410 with 33.
Lots. I gotta go this.
That's the percentage of the where we should be?
That's where we thought we were gonna be, like,
Okay,
at the end of.
so we're ahead.
Yes, we are, yes, we're in good shape.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Got bad numbers there.
Oh dear.
Any questions or comments other than the ones that I have to get straightened out on? Street Department report, Kenny, you're up.
Well, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on anything before I get down to the? Well, I did have a meeting with Leeward. They plan to be through town in August in downtown. That's their plan,
Starting after the 4th.
apparently, yes. So they, they're gonna keep us up to speed on that, and they've been really good as far as communicating and stuff, so.
Do you know which end they're starting at? Are they starting at down at the bottom of like Lathrop in that area, or are they starting by Craig's place?
Well, actually, Sean, I heard they were gonna bring 3 crews in. They were gonna start by 167, 706, and then come in from both.
Work both sides at once.
That was the last time I heard, but I mean, maybe that plan has changed now.
It'd be a great time to take vacation.
Yeah, it would.
Not worrying about income.
Right. That's always a pretty good concern right now going on out in Bridgewater Township. With the problems that they have out there, but it's all for the better
Oh, yeah, it'll be nice when it's all done.
for 3 years. You're planning on paving, how much more piping are you planning on doing before you start laying some asphalt into?
The ones that we have dug. Actually, Tom, this week we're gonna start. I got a piping project tomorrow and Wednesday. Then hopefully, weather providing, Thursday, start putting binder in High Street, going down Mill.
Are you gonna bind the ditch right there, going down Mill Street?
Yes,
You're
yep,
gonna do that whole thing?
yep, yep,
Just about like the Locust Street project?
correct, yeah.
What was the Griffiths project? What was that? I noticed that.
Pipe, we had a pipe failure as well, catch basin pipe, then we had back years ago, there wasn't the fittings that were available to attach Ys and Ts, so a lot of them got hidden junction boxes laid up, and we had a failure with one of them. So
I was just curious. I saw them in the places.
Your piping plan for this month includes Cherry Street. Is that,
yeah, I may put that off till after the 4th.
isn't that kind of like a state project?
No, it's right by your Sean's mom's house.
Oh, on Upper Front.
Right, both catch basins are failed, and actually the outlet, the one closest to Sean's mom's, is compromised, and it's building up with water, and it drains down real slow, but I may push it off till after the 4th.
You should look at where it goes to, the water, like if you, on a really rainy day, go up, knock on my mother's door and go up and stand and look out her window. Because
This is-
it bypasses it.
Well, we're gonna move it right next to the curb that you guys put in.
Got it.
Yeah,
that
it
was-
doesn't
that
do
was-
any good there.
No, that was gonna be my suggestion.
The only thing it catches is what falls from the sky.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna get moved,
Yeah,
relocated.
if you stay, you could see where the water pattern is. If you
Yep.
go up in her porch and look out,
Yep.
those windows, just knock on the door and say, I wanna go look out your windows.
Will she have coffee on?
She's a gun, be careful, but
But she might offer you a cup of tea, too.
Or coffee.
So,
That's right.
it
She- she-
just depends on which day you go up there.
Okay, so moving along, does anybody else have any further questions?
Did you talk with Pat Resty? Is that who you're talking with at Leeward, or they moved on to another supervisor?
No, Pat.
Okay. Going down South Main Street to the alley,
Right.
have we got anything confirmed there?
As far as curb cuts and,
And where the underground
right, that water thing.
river goes down there?
right. Oh, by the publishing company.
Yeah, both
He's
the
still,
publishing company.
he's still working on it.
Okay.
He is still,
Alright.
he's trying to get it done
Okay.
underneath, when they come through town, because it's gonna create another issue.
Yeah, they.
But it's still, I mentioned it.
I mean, it would make more sense for him to do it now, just get it done.
Yep.
As long as it's tearing up the road.
Yeah, actually, they're coming down quite a ways down South Main Street.
That's good. Yeah, I had heard that, not to the Dollar General parking lot.
No.
Halfway.
Yeah, they're
from
coming
the-
down
from
quite
the
far.
intersection down. Good, thank you.
Yep.
We think we got it straightened out with the guy from, I think that's who came over.
Yeah, did he come down and talk to you
Yeah,
then?
he's gonna put a,
Drop
grader
curb?
will probably be gone, so he's gonna put a step down curb.
Yeah, drop curb.
Trucks
See,
can run over.
correct, yep. Oh, so he did come and talk to you?
Your
then.
supplier,
Good.
your supply tanker?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do something, because a 6-inch curb won't work for you.
No,
No.
Okay.
it's already hard enough to get in.
Kenny, how's Tom making out down the park?
Good, good. He's gonna let those posts set and he's gonna start back
Okay.
at it this week.
Looked like he was putting caps on them this afternoon.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
He was
got
getting ready to put up the crosswalk.
rails and stuff, yep.
Okay,
Made it
thank
come
you.
along good.
I'd like everybody to notice that our crew got together and washed the building prior to somebody planting flowers out there. I can't imagine who that was, and it looks really nice.
Actually, it was a group effort.
Yes, it was.
Teamwork.
Topsoil, group effort, and mulch.
Consulting,
Yep.
you can't do that. You should do it this way. Well done, guys.
Thank you. Well, going down to the favorite part of the report.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about your wants. I stepped right all over you. Kenny doesn't want anything this month.
Howard,
No, 2 months in a row.
Well, actually, no, I do have a little request. Well, other than to advertise for the surface treatment program.
If you got your streets all marked out or figured out what you wanted to
Yep,
do.
yep. But wintertime was bad on Griffith Street. So the suggestion was made to stone and oil it before we surface treat it. And I met my maximum, for the surface treatment program, I'm right at budget. So I was wondering, when I was going through my budget, there's some,
Worst thing we ever did is hire somebody who knows how to read.
well, no, I see there's 25,000 in curbing. I was wondering if we could maybe tap into a little bit of that.
He keeps looking at me because he knows where, he knows who wants the curbing. What do you think the
That's
stone
funny.
and chip that?
To do it, a double app, which should be done, it'd be 12,000.
I thought he was gonna say 24,000.
Tommy,
ready for that.
12 to 13,000.
For the stone and chip.
Well, that's what the distributor, we have to, well, Lennox Township, they have a chipping bar in the back of their dump trucks. So we'd have to hire them to come up and, because we don't have any chipping bars on our trucks to feed the chipper. They're $100 an hour. We figured 6 hours for 2 trucks would be $600. But they're willing to trade off something that the borough could offer them,
compost.
Some bark chips.
chunks of wood. We're giving them chunks of wood down there.
Yes.
So you're saying that, and Griffith Street is on your project?
Yes, it
for
is.
The slurry program?
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just need about 12,000.
I would like to, it's definitely money well spent. I mean, it really does a nice job sealing up the road. And I mean, structure of the road's good.
And this is, and you're fixing the piping up there right now?
Correct.
All of Griffith Street or just the hill?
No, coming from Lake Avenue where Ted McLaughlin used to live,
Yep.
to the intersection of Griffiths. And then there's a spot around the other side by Fowler's and Quigg's house.
Right?
And then a partial spot at the bottom of Griffiths Hill, like from Andy Dean's to the stop sign.
Okay,
But
so
not the steep part.
No,
steep part.
no, that would be a little sketchy with
Little
the
tough.
stone there.
I was wondering how you're planning on holding
Yeah,
that
no,
marble,
that'd be a little
little
sketchy.
marble down there. Okay.
Good idea. Let's do it in two pieces. Give him the motion, or I'll accept the motion for him to proceed with his chip and oil program on Griffith Street. And then the second motion I'll accept will be for advertise for your slurry program. Anybody want to make the first motion?
Sure, I will.
Motion made.
Second.
Sean with the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Second part of this program is the slurry program. I'll accept the motion for the slurry, to advertise for the slurry. Slurry.
Second.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All done?
Yes, thank you.
Just say, don't push your luck. All right, we gotta cross the street off the curbing program.
Maybe that we can find someplace else to put back in the old or to take out of rather than taking it all out.
I just,
You've seen it before.
I mean, a curbing project is a curbing project. Can't even tell you about every time you dig into a ditch, you're finding water lines, sewer lines, every other line.
That's true.
But that machine, that slip form thing,
That's the cat's meow there.
if we can figure out a project to use that, that's the way to put a lot of curbing in, keep a lot of water heading toward the catch basins, and not so much down people's backyards. All right, Kenny, thank you.
Thank you.
Zoning.
Okay, that's, sorry, you know,
Should have been in your handout or on the table. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, actually, I have a question for Mary. So, I got a call, and I got some emails from some members of the zoning hearing board and a few other people, that the spigot is still being used. So my question is, for Wednesday's hearing, is that relevant toward any of the discussions that's going to be held on Wednesday with the judge? Do you think there's an argument to be made when he's sitting up there and says, what's the status of things? You could say they're still thumbing their nose and using the spigot.
We can certainly do that. I don't know how much impact that will have based upon the stuff that I've filed that's pending before the judge on Wednesday. However, we are coming rapidly to the end of Ms. Marta's appeal period. That hearing was at the beginning of May, so the beginning of June is I believe it's 30-day timeframe for the appeal. Assuming she does not appeal, I will check into the enforcement procedures relative to that particular proceeding, and we'll follow that up by another route, if we have to.
Sean, didn't Judge Siemens give them 45 days to remove
Not to
it?
use it,
Not to use it?
not to
Two
use it,
separate things.
not to use it. He gave them 45 days to remove it and said it's illegal.
Oh,
It's enforceable now.
I
It's
didn't
citation,
realize that.
and Dale knows that. They can get their citation.
Maybe at the last meeting, wasn't it normally after, now, the magistrate with Dr. Marta,
Right,
that was supposed to be enforced 5 days after,
right,
so she is incurring debt as we speak,
Yes,
or
on a daily
incurring
basis.
fines,
yes.
but she still has the right to appeal.
She does have.
Part of the appeal could be to
Yeah, to
slow
change the
out,
amount.
change the
Yes,
amount.
exactly.
Get rid of that. Okay. It's
Could increase it too.
273 Locust, or Lincoln Avenue. Somebody give me
It's up by the county.
that. Yeah, is that was that the one on the corner? No, I'm just,
I don't know what's the issue.
273, I don't know, I was just wondering.
Oh, you saw that
Yeah.
his thing's at 273?
Yeah, I was wondering
Can
what
I-
he was. It was a cog, Daniel Green.
Carving, just 70 Kenny Daniel Green.
Oh,
Is that
yes,
the
I
one
know.
that they talked about a tea house at one time, that's what?
No, this is
Okay.
something different. That house, there's a carriage house in the back.
Yep.
He wants to take, can I go on here?
Sure.
Sorry. The house, carriage house, he wants to take and split the two.
A subdivision?
Yeah, kind of like a subdivision, I think, and make this into like a little,
Chalet.
yeah, something for his mother-in-law to live in, and his sister's gonna stay here. So,
Good.
Jim told me that's gonna have to go to planning commission and all that, so,
Leave some, especially if the lot size is small.
yeah,
Okay.
that was my impression.
Any other questions or comments on zoning? Police department. I have questions for the police department, but I'll hold them until everybody has their questions.
Did Coast Tire get their stuff fixed?
But their alarm,
Yeah.
supposedly.
I just
Yeah, a
see
couple alarms up there.
7 of them, right?
Yeah, a couple, like, a bunch of.
What are the miscellaneous investigations, the 15?
That'd be anything from like a tree blocking the roadway to traffic control, just miscellaneous stuff that doesn't really have a category in the CAD system.
Yeah. And there's a big increase in citations. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah.
Big. More people are misbehaving around here.
It's springtime.
Maybe it's spring.
Yeah, the weather.
Right up. Spring training.
Any other questions?
I have, just make it part of the record, Dale, and I talked to you a little bit. We have, at times, we have 2 officers out enforcement.
Yeah, for backup or whatnot, there's usually one here still though.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's documented.
Yes. Like this weekend, for instance, there was a domestic, we had 3 on. One was scheduled out there, the second one went out assisted, and we skipped Sunday night shift.
Okay.
That's how the supervisors like us to do my next shift to make up for it. Or if it's like 4 hours, just bill them additional time with that
Okay.
for the hours.
But it is documented.
Yeah.
Are we running the same vehicle out there, like for just a normal patrol? Are we taking a 4-wheel drive out there? Are we taking turns beating up each car?
Taking turns for the most part, but most of the roads are actually, I mean,
They're pretty good shape.
better than Growth, I mean, right now.
Better than Lake Ave. That's right. Well, those are speed bumps on Lake Ave.
I think.
If it were any smoother, they'd be going
Depending
fast.
on where we're patrolling, if we're doing the hard tops of the car, if we're doing, we split
Always
up.
marked cars are going out there though, or are you taking the unmarked
The
cars?
black SUV goes out, it's marked, but it's just harder to see, but,
They get used to seeing it.
yeah.
No, just a couple of questions that got raised over.
Full-on marked will be harder.
Never really normal. Okay, that's all I
Anything
got.
else? I had a couple things, we had the cars going over and everything. The new car, the radio, which is our oldest radio, which you put in the new car, the socket for the microphone is malfunctioning. So they said it's probably cheaper just to replace it than try to fix it from the radio guy. So I need a permission to purchase a radio, they're about $500 for the mobile unit.
What's wrong with the old bullhorn? The new car.
It's the new car.
New car
It's
has
our
the
old
old
radio
radio.
we put in.
What we tried, what did we get, a year out of that radio after we moved it?
Since you moved it, yeah, it's been a year.
I make a motion to get communication.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And the second thing would be, 2 of the officers are Bulletproof vests are coming up on the 5-year mark, which they state to replace them after 5 years due to failures and whatnot. The state contract pricing through STARS. I just need, we do have money in the budget for that, in the equipment fund.
You want a motion for that, or are you
Yeah.
just gonna?
Yeah, because they're like 800.
Very piece.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
No.
I
Second.
think we have 4,000 for it.
Randy with the motion,
Oh,
Craig with the second. Say hi to Sammy for me. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
That's it.
You said and, so that's where you end.
Yep.
If you just,
Thank you,
Spent
Dale.
everything already.
Moving on, item 15, municipal authority report. Any questions or comments? None heard. Mayor Wilson, your turn. Anything?
No, I just had about the curbing there at the Shell station. Also, I talked to Dale before the meeting, said there's nothing but good comments from Forest Lake. He just was out to the meeting tonight, so.
You gotta hang out with me. I guess I sat on the wrong stool. Dale, while we got the mayor up here, last meeting, he's communications, you're our alternate for communications.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Now, they told me they're on twice a year, but I haven't got up there to see when they are.
Okay.
Should be one coming right up.
I think they planned one for June.
There's one in June.
One in June,
Yeah,
June
I
and
think I saw that.
Oh, how's your walkie-talkies work out there?
It used to be the third Wednesday, but I don't know if it's not.
Oh, those good. They were good.
Are there any, probably, you found, I'm sure you found some dead spots out there, or not?
Some, a lot less between those and just NEP has a little better coverage than what, I think all the officers have either Verizon or TNT, and out there it's just not quite great.
I just assumed that this one first, just so that we can, that one's gonna take a little while. Anything else, John?
No, that's it.
Action items. Joe, you're on the ballot here for number 1. Mary Lee came in to discuss the community center. Do you have a,
I can wait.
are you okay? All right. Let's take that community center right up to the top. The community center with, I passed around a proposal of what I think needs to happen if we're going to entertain the notion of the adult school. I don't, did you get one?
Mhm.
Everybody
Oh, yeah.
got one, I don't pass it around the audience if you want to go. Basically, I see 3 things that need to happen, and that's to get the pool drained and ballasted. And get that little moisture problem taken care of that's up there. Number 2, I think that we can advertise general contract for a very limited construction project that would involve anybody that's familiar with it. As you walk in the door, it would be the area to your left, to the left of the counter. That would be part of the project. The other part of the project would be the kitchenette, which is directly in front of you as you walk in the door. And it would also be 2 small rooms that we're combining to make 1, which is a simple matter. I believe it's metal studded, and from the looks of the ceiling, and that's a self-supporting building, so there should be no structural issues there. Maybe we can meet with the contractor, but it's I believe it's self-supporting, or if there's any support in there at all, it's 1 beam down the center.
There's nothing in that.
Well, there's gotta be something carrying them floor joists, I think. So there's gotta be
There's
a beam.
nothing, there's no structural, it's a
But
non-structural.
structurally, I don't think any of the walls tie in, let's put it that way. So we would have we would have that one room done, the kitchenette done, and the one larger carpeted area, which it used to be the old gym, as part of the project. And then the third thing we would also need, and this is all with the idea of the August 1st, or July, whatever that deadline is. I think this is about, I would guess, about a 2.5 to 3 week project. The 2 lower windows for circulation and the fire escape on the Burchard side of the property would need to be rebuilt. But all of the signage for L&I's in place as far as your exits go. We could close the second floor off, and the pool area would be closed off, and offer just the first floor to the adult school for their expo. I'm not too sure how many classes we can get in there without, but that's what I explained. I have a map, or the map, it doesn't really show, it shows the building as it stands right now, if anybody has any questions. The area that I'm talking about is here. It shows bifold doors there. I told John that he can take his closet doors. We need to put regular room dividers in there, 3-inch room divider that will set down on the floor. And I've seen most of the hotels will use them. You'll not even know you're in the ballroom once they get done dividing it. They're pricey. They're $15,000 to $18,000 for a building this size. Didn't price them. I know for a hotel they get fairly pricey. This will be closed off where the pool is. This is the small, am I getting that right? This is the small area. There's 2 offices right there now, and then the sauna is directly behind them. We're not going to touch the sauna as part of this project. But we would remove that one wall, and I believe if it's metal studded, it should come right out and just a matter of patch to create a fairly good size. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 people could meet there. But like I said, all the signage, I was up there, I have the key to get back. And that would satisfy, and you'll notice that at the bottom, and I'll make sure that I say it out loud, that this is not to circumvent any kind of bidding requirements or anything like that. I'd still like to advertise this out for bid. Kind of tossed it up in the air whether to put out 3 separate bids, because I think or just giving it to a general contractor and letting them worry about it with the deadline. If we don't go with a general contractor, I would strongly recommend we hire somebody as far as clerk of the works to keep the ball. If we go out to separate bids, carpeting, probably carpentry, and the pool, training the pool. We have a clerk of the works to kind of coordinate the whole thing. But that's my idea. If we move on that tonight, or anybody else's ideas as we get into any kind of discussion, if we advertise tonight, we can open the bids on the 17th, and that will give us about 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks to complete the project.
John,
That was kind of it.
wasn't Mr. Puzo going to come by and talk about?
I was kind of thinking that Mr.
He
Puzo was going to
wasn't,
be here, but
he wasn't going to be able to attend tonight.
Will we see him at some point? Perhaps mid-month meeting?
Sure.
well, as far as what, the rest of the design of the building?
Yes.
Okay, the rest of the design of the building, this is just, like I said, this tonight is in an effort to satisfy the adult school
I
for their
understand.
expo.
Correct.
Immediately following that, though, we need to, you'll see I put phase 2 in quotations, because I hate that term. But the next thing we need to do is sit down as a council, or in an open meeting with the public, and decide how we want to cut this up, and how, I don't know exactly what the adult school's requirements are or anything like that. I don't want to give, our idea, or I think when we bought it, we had talked about putting other tenants in there also, so this is going to be a back and forth thing, I think, but I think that second part of it is going to play a big part of it. but go ahead, Mary Lee.
We haven't been a part of this discussion up to now, so sort of coming in.
Right.
But we've certainly heard about it and from the beginning. You know, the adult school, which is an organization in town, we were very excited about it because it provides meeting space that doesn't exist in town. You can cut and paste all over town, but there really isn't good available meeting space. So we thought this would be great, not just for the adult school, but lots of organizations, clubs. You know, we started brainstorming all sorts of things that weren't the adult school. So I don't want this to look like we're doing this for the adult school. We would be one user, but we
Right.
can imagine lots. And the only reason right now we're sort of up against it, which is unfortunate, you know, we all think things will move faster than they actually can. And when we thought about we have this exposition anyway. We originally thought it was going to be somewhere else, but, you know, talking to you all, we thought, wow, we could bring a lot of people into the building and help, you know, advertise the fact that it's going to be a resource this fall by locating our exposition, which is it's a show and tell. All the people come and show the stuff that they've been making, and it's a really great event for the adult school. So we had thought we would locate it there. And when would we do it? Well, everybody's in town for the Blueberry Weekend, so that's how this whole thing happened. And now I understand, and we're beginning to feel guilty we're putting too much pressure on you all to sort of leapfrog just to accommodate this one event, so.
I think, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think we need to get it up and running. I think there's, I'm gonna say probably 1,500 square feet that will have the new carpeting, would have a new kitchenette, and would have that new smaller classroom. If we can get that accomplished by that time, it would be a great way to bring the public in to get any other suggestions that are out there. It would be a good way to get people from town maybe to stop by, take a look at what we're doing. By then, we can conceptually have John draw something up. There's big plans. I know I sat and talked over with Sean until blue in the face. Craig, and, you know, there's plans, and then we've got to come to an agreement on some way to do this. As far as how we're going to cut the building up or how we're going to situate the building, I don't think anything that we do today, or in the first part of this, as far as that, other than that room that we're talking about, putting the carpeting in, or replacing the carpeting in, we'll probably get a set of doors that would divide it in half, should we need it. And then they would retract if we needed a bigger hall, you know, so it's, that is, as far as I've done now, I don't think those 3 or 4 things, the design has really changed too much.
The adult school's fall semester begins the 1st of September. And the reason we're sort of backed up, our catalog is about to go to the graphic arts department at the high school, which has to get there before the kids leave, because they print it for us. We print 2,000 copies, and right now in it are 61 courses, 35 of which are located in the community center.
Right.
So we're
That
down.
scares me.
Well, it's sort of scaring
Yeah,
us
I mean, as
because
far
we
as the
think, well,
scheduling and everything like that.
and
I
now,
don't
but
even
the
wanna-
faculty is really sort of excited. Wow, we could be in this community center. Everybody is imagining, I don't know what they're imagining, but they think it's a great idea.
Well, I don't know, I wanted to make sure that you didn't think that this was going to be 35 classrooms that I could use, and you being a
No, no,
school
no, no.
superintendent,
No,
you know,
no, no.
that,
And they all don't meet at the
Yes,
same
I-
time.
right,
There's 2
Mary
or
Lee
3
sent
at
me
the
a
same
sample.
time. No.
right.
What you have planned definitely accommodates. Plus, we have backup spaces, which we've been using. We've been using churches, and so it just is sort of helpful and more efficient for us if more of them are in the same place and we're not running all over the county unlocking and locking buildings.
Well, I know that some kind of partnership we need to keep intact, strictly because I know that state funding comes a little bit easier to organizations that work together versus somebody that tries to stand by themselves. So I think as we go apply for grants or whatever money's available that we can find, that it's gonna be a good thing, and I think you'll be a good tenant. I would like to see the expo there. Like you said, the Blueberry Festival's probably the second or third
Yeah.
largest event that we have here in town.
Yeah.
Probably the last fall event that I can think of that
Yeah.
would be that kind of a turnout. So if we can accommodate that, which I think if we do all of this bidding and getting it advertised, getting it hammered out, I think that we can accommodate the exposition. That being said,
Right, it's government.
it's government, so. And that space up there is, and it would be handy for the green, so I can't even suggest a second space that would be that convenient.
I did speak to two of the potential bidders, and I did fly past them your ideas, Tom, and, I mean, they didn't balk in terms of, they said ordering the carpet and stuff, but they would look for somebody local to order it through and kind of pawn that off or subcontract that off, and as far as they were concerned, it was very doable.
And that's one of the things, whether you're a carpet installer or if you're a smaller carpenter, you know, if you had someone like Frank Jones come down from Binghamton to bid this job, to keep as much of it as locally sourced as you can. But I don't know exactly how to put that in the advertisement. I would rely on buy local. I want to buy local. And,
Encourage your local contractors to do that.
so, with anybody or everybody's permission, I would,
So we need a motion to advertise.
a motion to advertise for the project.
I'll make the motion.
We will, what I thought was that if we advertised it, we can follow this up with a bidders conference next Monday night, or a contractors meeting next Monday night, whether you're bidding or not. Some of the things that we do need to make sure get in the advertisement is the licensing, the Pennsylvania. But you have to have a license now in the state of Pennsylvania to do carpentry work or anything like that. Jim might know. We want to make sure that's in there, so we can get that weeded out.
Next Monday?
I would, yes, I would follow it up with a, you know, that because we don't have, we have just what I've presented tonight and any other ideas that you guys want to throw on there. The bid package is going to be a lot like the one that I got today. It's going to be pretty scarce and pretty thin, and you do a lot of guessing. But those three things, I think, between the pool.
John Puzo
Yeah.
can take your ideas and refine them into, you know, as long as we vote on the advertisement to get it out. John can circulate it if need be.
Yeah.
But he can put together, he can take your three ideas, condense them into a, you know, a shopping list, and provide it to the contractors for the Monday meeting. He's good, he's quick. He can knock that out.
So, are you expressing a preference to having three separate things happen here, or one contractor take the three of them and oversee them?
Well, that was the part of it, whether you want to advertise for a general contractor and tell the general contractor, these are the three things that we need done by such and such a date, or do you want to put this out so that an individual contractor, because and not just, I know you've got installers, there's local installers in the area, there's, I don't know how good Jack Taylor is at laying carpet, you know, he might not want to bid the carpeting, but he might want to bid.
Jack Taylor would do it
windows,
exactly the same way Todd Smith did it.
you know, that would be,
Is that what
yeah.
he did?
Somebody else, you know, if somebody.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if you go with the general contractor, you're leaving yourself open to using their suppliers. They're going to bid, they're gonna bid low, and that's the way it works. If you go with three separate ideas as far as hiring the carpenter to do the carpentry work,
Managing that is gonna be a circus.
That's why I said,
Summer of 2003.
if we're gonna do that, then we need to get a clerk of the works that can make decisions on a daily basis.
That goes all the way back to the beginning. I think you need to be looking for one contractor to take this job on and subcontract whatever he needs.
So I'm just subcontracting.
I agree with
You
that.
gotta be talking to.
Especially with the
At this
triangle
point
sites.
in what we're trying to do, you gotta be talking to one contractor.
Okay. No, I'm easy, I can go,
I
I'm
agree,
gonna,
or I think you need one cook in the
This,
kitchen and then.
this is a circus waiting to happen if you try to put that up to three different operations and try to manage all
that's the
three.
way it'll be advertised, I'm looking for a general contractor that can handle these
This is the
three
package, let
projects.
John write it up.
Carpentry, yeah.
You make that motion?
I made it.
Does it need to be motion? That's the way you want it advertised, motion made and seconded anyway, is there any discussion? Hearing nothing further, all of those in favor, aye?
My mother always told me,
All
you have nothing good to say.
All those opposed?
I knew you were a Walt Disney movie fan.
All those opposed, say nay. They didn't know whether he's going in or out.
You can throw me down as a hesitant, yes.
If it's gotta be done, this is
It's gotta be done, so,
probably the way to
you
do it.
know, we wasted too much money, too much time already.
Motion carries.
Probably the way to do it.
Marion? Nothing? Okay. Thank you, Joe. So is there anything else, can we discuss the rest of it? If we have to, later on in the agenda, we'll reserve that right. Let's go with Joe.
Okay, so I brought the plans for Coleman Road this evening. Kenny and I met out there at the culvert to talk about the hydraulic calculations we did. We found there's 365 acres of drainage area that contributes to that pipe there on Coleman Road. And currently it inlets at 36 inch and necks down to 24. We ran the numbers and we came up with a 6-foot pipe, and I wanted to find out, you know, back in 2006 or various flood events, did that pipe ever overtop? And Ken confirmed in 06 it did overtop. And then I went downstream and looked at the pipe that goes underneath 706, and that's a 6-foot pipe. So, you know, now we're at 3, necking down to 2. And when we ran the numbers, we figured a 5-foot, a 60-inch pipe, and that's the largest size you can order in ADS, which was the material of choice. If we go bigger, which it would fit, you got enough grade to work with, we'd have to go with like an aluminized, either a galvanized pipe, which is shorter life, or an aluminized metal pipe, which extends the life. But they're not as readily available, and I think the 5-foot pipe is plenty of capacity based on, you know, real world, you know, what's going on there in terms of backing up, and did Coleman Road ever flood? We just had that one event in 06.
Well, yeah, the first piece of pipe had, you know, got eroded and actually tipped, it was blocking. That was some of the cause of the overflow.
So we're just, really, the plans show, we did a wetlands delineation, we have a regulated waters delineation map and a report. We have a set of drawings here that shows that pipe being removed, and it shows a new 60-inch pipe going in. Probably the biggest upgrade there is the end walls, the head walls. We have DW end walls, they come in 3 pieces. The wing walls are separate, but they come and they get set with a crane. And they'd be on the upstream and the downstream end. And then, you know, it would be sloped back up to the road grade from the top of the head wall on up. So
I have one question on pipe, or on this project. Is this for replacement of today? And is this with anticipation of future? Future meaning, are we looking down the road to what's going to happen possibly in the future? Weather has changed drastically.
well, we use
Is this, so basically, is this large enough to accommodate whatever's going to come down the road?
Well, it meets the standards in terms of what, PennDOT would require. We use the most current, we go to NOAA's website for rainfall data, which is current rainfall data. A pipe like this, it's designed up to the 10-year storm, and that's standard. PennDOT might go 25-year storm, and the rainfall data is current. Now, what could it be in the future? Now we're adding safety factor and costs that would be difficult to justify potentially. But with regard to that same question, development would probably have the most impact. You start paving a lot of areas and you increase peak flows that way. That's why you have stormwater ordinances and things to handle that at sites where they're doing work. I think that's probably more relevant concern as far as future change to the area if there was development. But it's as current as we have for rainfall data.
I think going from a 2-inch or a 2-foot pipe to a 5-foot pipe gives us some extension.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
So you were talking about the two different life expectancies of aluminized pipe versus galvanized?
Yeah.
What is the galvanized life expectancy?
Galvanized, 30 years, the bottom rots out of it first,
Well, I'm for that one. I'm 65, what the heck?
You might get 40.
Well, even Jack retired at 90. Didn't he live?
91,
91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The aluminized,
almost 92.
Yeah, they claim 75 years on the aluminized. The HDPE, which is the ADS, that's if the sun's, it's buried, so it's not going to get a lot of impact from the sun. You take plastic pipe and let it out in the sun, it'll degrade, but if you bury it, it's gonna, probably 100 years plus. So, and with the concrete end walls, that's a big improvement. Is the scouring you get on the inlet side.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen them on the outflow side too. It's like a low head wall dam. It comes around and burrows back in. You don't have a wing wall there. You got them on both ends. Yeah.
Bring opera length Playtex gloves.
I
and
will.
do it. That's all.
I've been in the archive, maybe somebody can go in and help you.
We'll make a meeting.
We will. See, I know I have good help.
Minutes of 2008 are right here.
Great.
Not in the zoning hearing. Wisconsin.
A youngster that's gonna come down and go through the archive.
Yeah, I have a stack that you went through, I just have to take the time and get them in order.
So he's.
But that was ordinances, right?
Yeah,
But anyway, you're right to know, back to, you're right to know. That's, I'm not sure what the question is, that you think that we, would this be like a zoning thing that it's been on for years?
Here's what it goes to, the recent article that appeared on the Sunday Scranton Times, the DEP, just because your records are not in order and you say it's burdensome to respond to a right to know, we don't want to be in that position. So I'm very confident that the records are well in order since Aaron took over April of 2010. But my concerns are for the borough, what happened prior to that time, where those records are, and, you know, we do have obligations,
Yep.
right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And also, I had a question, did we sign the resolution to follow the schedules and procedures? It would have been around the time of December of 2008 with the Municipal Records Act. And it lays out schedules.
That I couldn't
So
tell you,
to address a
2008.
question like that, to answer a question like that, you know, Aaron wasn't here in 2008.
Right.
So we want to be able to have this information accessible to us. So that's really why I brought that up.
But it right now is accessible to the extent that we have the files.
Well, are the files upstairs in the garage? Or
I'm not too sure
Where are
where
they?
they ended up with that.
There's a group of files in a room on the second floor of Kenny's garage. There's a second batch of files that are above it in the attic above those office spaces. So there's two groups of boxes.
Okay.
There are two safes, and in those safes, old metal safes, there are minutes that go back many, many years.
We are required to retain the minutes forever.
Well aware. There are some minutes that are in safes in the back. Annette's era, there were none. There was very little record keeping done during Annette's era. When we tried to go back and find it, we found very little, actually. She had some stuff on disc. Most of it was not up to the appropriate standards for documentation pursuant to our conversations with Shelley Hauk at the time.
How long was Annette here?
15 years.
So 15 years we have sketchy records.
Correct.
Okay, and was the computer analyzed?
The computer was right then.
Excuse me?
We didn't have computers back then. Not when we started.
We had, I mean, she had.
Catherine LaRue would not have, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Catherine LaRue's records we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are.
Those are all in order.
Before Annette.
Yeah, we have pre-Annette and we have post-Annette. We don't have Annette.
And her computer was full of a lot of stuff other than.
Your father was here when Annette was here. Where are your father's records?
That's what I want to know, because a lot of her questions, my father made me bring to Aaron, which means it's after, and I know it was in June. We didn't even diagnose my father until late, well, end of the first week of June. I brought all of his records, which were current. They were right up to 2000.
When you say records, you're talking just the minutes?
Everything he had. There were boxes, his briefcase, his minutes, his notes, the agendas, everything he had. Literally everything. And a lot of what she is questioning, why isn't that accessible? My father had it sent here with the intent that it would be used for record keeping, that all of his information be used and utilized, not just stuck in a closet somewhere.
Well, that's the majority of our records are, because we don't have them archived on discs or a
Okay.
searchable engine.
And again,
So
this
if
is,
somebody had a question, then they could narrow it down a little closer.
well, I'm,
Then
That's your
everything
best
is-
source for what Mr. Yeager had his daughter bring over here on his deathbed, and she handed off to Aaron,
Right.
is a very good source for when Laverne was here, that we
Yeah.
have no records.
exactly, my point being is that
Well, I had
he,
14 years of minutes that I kept.
You
For
have
the
them?
No, I burned them because they are not a public record. Anything sitting on this desk is not a public record unless she records it. So
that makes-
as far as,
Notes will never
so the
take
14
place
years,
as proper
the 14 years of notes
But
that
they're
I
minutes.
had.
I agree, they're
The
minutes, I don't
decisions
disagree.
that
There's
the
just
zoning hearing
something.
board had.
Of that-
which
all of
makes
that-
my father's
something.
all the more valuable, because, like I said, that might be your record keeping. My father was very good at record keeping and very precise, so all those years that you, and I do believe that's part of, because it really bothered my father what had happened during this whole fiasco. And I do
I sat
believe,
across from Jack for 5, 6 years, and he did not write minutes. He might have scribbled something on his paper on the,
I had typed paperwork, I had
well, then he went home
notebooks,
and
I had-
typed it. He didn't do it when he was here.
I
So-
didn't say
so
he
who-
did. But my point being is her request for records, there is a good source. And I'm hurt that my father brought this and wanted you to have it, to utilize it, and it got put in a closet and never looked at.
And
And a lot of-
that's my point, though. Everything that happened in them 15 years is put in the closet. It was not just your father's records that got put in the closet. Annette put the borough's records in the closet and under the toilet and under the sink and wherever she could stack them for 15 years. And she filled her computer full of porn because that's more important apparently than the borough records.
Well, I don't even want to discuss that.
Okay, well, this is
But-
what I'm saying, is that if your father's records are all in a box and they're in a closet, it's not for the lack of, I don't know if they've got thrown out or what they are, or where they are, but they're probably in the same shape as
Well,
far
I'm
as
going to ask
organizational.
you, as a citizen, if you could find them, if you're not going to utilize them, I would like them returned to me. Especially the briefcase.
I'm not sure, I wasn't here when you turned all that in.
Erin was here, I gave it to her.
Well, if you, I'm not exactly sure, so you're requesting everything that was donated to the borough be returned to the family?
Yes, because if you're not going to utilize them, I will. I would be very, you know,
They're
that's,
being, well, this is what I'm saying.
For my
is
personal
they're-
use to
they're
read.
being- They're being utilized as well as any record that we have.
I mean, the other thing is that, you know, people come and go off council, it's not.
my father was here for 32 years.
I'm well aware of how long your father was here, that's not my point. My point is, people come and go off council, and it's not incumbent upon the borough secretary to manage every single council person's personal records. We did it for your father because he was here for 32 years, that's why she accepted it. That's why when he brought me a stack of
Then
Pennsylvania.
she shouldn't have accepted them. The way you're speaking, she shouldn't have accepted them.
No, it's not a matter of whether she should or shouldn't have, she agreed to. But what I'm saying is she is under no legal obligation to do so. Those were your father's records.
And
You
he-
took them on because, and accepted them here because they were your father's, she was here forever. So it was a nice gesture, we took them.
And they're accessible as any record probably that we have.
Well, again, that goes back
If you
to
would like
somebody,
to, if you'd like to come in and research this, sir, see, this is what that right to know that I guess maybe I don't understand, and I can leave that up to Marion, but, you know, when you have a right to know, is, I'd like to know about what the zoning hearing or anything to research a certain house in town or a certain thing in town. You normally have kind of a date and kind of the parties involved, and you come in and you do the right to know. This goes back to the voluminous request that this house is now looking at to try to cut down. Because people are just coming in and saying, oh geez, we want to see DEP's records for 1985. We don't know why, we just want something to read. And that's why they're bogging things down. So if you don't have a specific request, or if you're requesting a pattern of the zoning hearing board, come in and say, we would like to review the zoning hearing records for this part of time. But you have to understand, the zoning hearing records that we have and the minutes that we have archived right now are in a box. They're not in a Google machine.
So what was
So-
the request anyway? Let me ask you.
I'm not sure.
What is this request that we were talking
Our
about?
record keeping of the past 15 years as a
I
treasurer.
mean, what is this, who cares? What's the specific request that somebody asked
That's-
for that led to this
I don't know.
conversation? Who's asking for what? You keep saying Julianne's request for records. What request for records? I'm not aware of
I'm
the
not
request for
making a
records.
particular record request,
Oh.
but I do.
Well, then why are we having this conversation?
We're having this
She's raising-
conversation because it will put the borough on the hook eventually if this situation isn't addressed and managed.
You just said it yourself. Our record keeping
I
is
agree with
atrocious.
her.
And this
So-
is my
But
point
this is
being
what,
is
when
that,
we started, this is what I asked you, is this like the zoning issue that we had that wasn't addressed for 20 years that we just now addressed? Should we budget something to do this archival
I think we should.
business? And how you would like to do it and how you would like to approach it?
I think it's important because we're kind of obligated to, manage our records and it's a good thing.
Oh, I imagine, I
mean,
agree with you 100% on
By
that.
the way, I'm not 100%.
I'm just
There's
not.
managing records and there's storing records and having records available. to
Storing
all.
records in a box, in an
What is-
attic,
I
where you
don't- I'm
don't have
saying-
indexed, you don't know what's
Well, what does the
there.
law say? What does the law require us to do? Do they require us to actually index them and make them Googleable? Or are they asking us simply to make sure we maintain the records? If the question is maintenance of
I'll
maintain
send this
records,
to you.
it's a very different one.
Maintain records. We are obligated to keep things permanently. And,
I don't disagree with that. My question is though, in what format are you talking about? You're talking about a searchable database. That's not the same thing as maintaining records. Currently, the records are being maintained. There's nothing
they're not
atrocious
being
about it.
maintained.
They're-
Up in the garage with the
They're
leaky
being
roof,
maintained.
with asbestos,
There's
asbestos.
loads of
I mean,
asbestos, who cares? But they're
I'm
being
not
maintained.
gonna argue with you, Sean.
As the zoning hearing board,
Please.
I'm listening to all this. I'm the secretary for the zoning hearing board.
I'm well aware of that,
Okay, thank you.
at your $3.83.
It doesn't matter.
Legal cost.
What, maybe I should know more about record keeping.
Well,
Can I-
at some point, the sins of our fathers come back to bite us, and I don't care if it came back and bit Jack when Jack first started on council. There's always something that somebody's done in the past that comes back to bite us. We try to keep into the it was what, 1994 when we got our first computer? Come on. So we've now got zoning that's
I
up
will-
to date. Let's do the archives. Are you volunteering to come over and archive that stuff?
I will help, yes. My
Well,
thing is,
we'll get
let me
Jack's stuff and
ask
you put it
one
in
more
order.
thing. I've worked in nursing field for 35 years. Our record keeping is such that if anybody walked in and asked, so-and-so, I need to see their records, we could literally pull their records up in complete format, the entire records. We can either have them, we do sometimes have them microfilmed. Otherwise, they are literally paper.
That's correct. What are you asking?
This is my point, is that I'm hearing that if you were to have someone come to you and say, we need to look at what happened on your June 3rd meeting of 2013, you're gonna go, well, we got it somewhere in a closet here. No, it needs to be archived. And I'm really hurt that my father donated all these records thinking that you would utilize them as another aspect of good record keeping, and they got put somewhere. And I'll take them back and archive them.
The minute crowd wouldn't be a minute. Our minutes are archived. I mean, if you requested a copy of the minutes from 1983, we could probably put our hands on that, something like that.
Well, you just told me they were kept under the
Would
toilet
you
and
have
the
to go over
closet.
and look through boxes?
Probably. But what am I supposed to do though? Call it up on Google?
Well,
That's my question, is where are we going with this?
shouldn't we scan them?
I
and-
can't take them out of those binders.
A lot of them, like you said, are from the
A lot of them are
1940s. They're
glued.
brittle.
They're glued in these
They're
binders.
literally-
Okay,
It's going to be a bigger project than having Aaron go over there and sit down for a week and try to arrange
well,
something.
she can't do that, she
Well,
has,
that's-
uh,
Then now that
Too
the
much.
zoning is out of the way, let's make plans then to put some kind of archival
I think
in prices, but this is gonna take a professional to go through them boxes, a professional, probably with a strong stomach. A
Yeah.
big constitution, because it's just,
Well, I don't think so too.
They are what they are.
What if the garage fixes on fire?
you know,
You just walk
any
away.
kind of right to know request that we have, we do our best to answer.
Of course you do.
But it's a lot like Pennsylvania American Water Company. Some of these right to know requests take months and months and months. And you can't tell me there's not a better company probably than Pennsylvania American Water Company as far as archived records. So if it takes them 3 or 4 months to find it in the computer, somebody requesting information.
It's on the record that I brought it to the borough.
Well, I would
I
challenge
think
you
it's
then to
important.
find out, or to make some kind of an idea of how do we handle this? Do we hire a private firm?
May I research it and
You're
present it
more
to
than
the
welcome.
17 and, you know,
More than
Thank
welcome
you
to.
very
That's kind of where I didn't know exactly
bring it
where
up
we were
and
going.
we try and solve the problem.
Oh,
We
we-
try and make it better.
I did this with zoning for 14 years, bringing it up, and so did Jack. Jack brought up zoning. quite
About
often.
records?
No, about trying to update our zoning, and we finally,
Oh.
after 14 or 15 years, got it done, so. Okay. Item number 5, Craig. Public Avenue Park.
We've had several people comment through the Chamber of Commerce that the handicapped parking space in front of the theater is not adequate. There are several drawbacks to trying to make that an adequate space, including changing the curb there going to the theater. An idea that has come up is originally when the engineers drew out the bump outs in the middle of Lake Avenue, or in the middle of Public Avenue, there was no parking on the west bump out, on the uphill side of it, in front of what is now the sporting goods store. A number of people parked there, and we came to the conclusion that we ought to put a meter in there. So we put a meter in there, put a line in there. Now we have regular parking on the uphill side of the bump out. That adjoins a blue hash marked area, which is adjacent to a handicap parking area in front of the dentist office, which is no more adequate than the one by the theater. The thought has come that if we leave the blue hash marked area in front of the alley and change that handicap parking area from that space to the one down the hill from it on the bump out, we have accomplished a number of things, including making the appropriate width for handicap parking available. 2 areas where there's a drop curb for handicap access, one on the bump out at the crosswalk, one at the alley. Larry Coy from the Sporting Goods has asked, could we just swap them rather than making 2 handicap areas? His request would be for Borough Council to make regular parking in front of the dentist office and change the one on the bump out to handicap. My thought is, we have several people that park there pretty much all day long anyway. It's restricting the parking there, that the borough and the people that use the downtown would be better served if we just moved that from one space to the other, rather than trying to add one more handicap parking space. I don't know what the legal requirements are for advertising for the change of that, whether or not we can just change where the lines are painted and move the sign from one meter to the next. I'm not sure where we go from there, but Judy Kelly started this, and I've been following up on it, and I think we need to put whatever gears need to be in motion to move that parking space.
So you're just going to swap
Yep.
the handicap to the lower side?
Right.
And turn the other one into a regular
Yes.
parking space?
Yeah, that's my recommendation. So I have the same number of handicap parking spaces, but one will actually be a serviceable side entry parking vehicle.
For a van drop?
Yeah, for a van drop.
Do we have to clear it with PennDOT since they're
That's
like,
would be the second question.
I don't know where we have to go. but I think we should do it this summer, and I think we should get it done.
The area that didn't have the parking spot in it, that has the parking spot in it now,
Yep.
is illegal.
Is what?
It's an illegal parking spot.
Might as well
It's
turn
parked
it
too
into
close to.
might as well turn it into a handicap parking access.
Well, that's, that's what the state don't realize when they tell you, you
Yeah.
can't have
But
parking spots so close to the
the
crosswalks and
state,
stuff like that, but I know that.
John
I have no
John
problem.
Puzo came to talk to me this morning about two things, and I was just busier than one on paper hanger, and he finally left his phone number and left, and when I called him, I got his voicemail. But one of them was the handicap parking, and knew what I was looking at. There are requirements for how wide handicap access parking needs to be, and I believe that their standard parking space is 7 wide, and a handicap space is 12. I'm not sure about those numbers, but it's almost 1.5 parking spaces. So it would not be, even though the state signed off on what they were given for the Public Avenue project, there are 3 handicap parking areas on Public Avenue that are not state legal handicap parking areas.
So why don't we just give it to John Puzo? Why don't we just
Well,
agree that we give them to John and let John go find out the answers to your questions?
That's good for me.
So why don't I move, I'll move to, in theory, swap the parking spots and let John Puzo figure out how we go about doing it.
Well, are you going to address just the one?
I think so. I think just a swap.
Just let's get one that works correctly, and then we can work from there.
We talked about this last month, didn't we?
Judy brought it up.
Judy brought it up, and I've
Handicap
been
parking
taking it a
areas.
step further by talking to the people on Public Avenue about it, and by finding out, if I had had the time, I would have at least 1 or 2 of those answers tonight, but I didn't have the time for John this morning.
That worked.
So,
Sean with a
works for
motion,
me. I'll second it.
Fred with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Okay.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. And that being the end of the show, I'll listen for a motion to adjourn.
I have a question, it's old business, did we approve the franchise agreement? I don't think we did.
No. I
We
haven't
tabled
heard
it
back
for
from
discussion. There's a
That's
workshop
the first
coming
one.
up in June.
First thing.
What are
It
we
is
doing,
June.
what are we doing with that franchise agreement?
The franchise agreement, I'm still waiting to hear back from John, who I was told would be answering my questions.
John,
I couldn't tell you without going back up to the house and
from
grabbing.
Time Warner?
From Time Warner.
Okay.
That's who I called with questions about the franchise agreement, with the length of it, and invited him down to a meeting with him and back.
Oh,
Because the biggest concern that I have is actually the length of that franchise.
Get more lighting up there and improve the lighting in here. I think we could get, actually, the people that are there in the wintertime, June isn't the time to assess, where our lighting and our traffic is down there, but December, and January, and February, if we could get people to park down there then and make them feel good about it, we'd have something.
Yeah, behind the gas station, it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then signing, putting the public parking
Yep.
signs out on the Church Street and South.
Mhm.
Those, what are they, blue?
I think this is a great start.
I think the restoration committee jumped right on that too.
Yeah, Judy incorporated in her comprehensive plan. Wait a minute.
Will it still hold 300 cars on the 4th of July?
Sure. We'll put them right
Nobody
one
pays
next to
attention
the
to the
other.
lines there anyway, lawns,
Heck,
they
the front of
park,
my house has been known to
park in the
12.
grass, they park all over the place.
You could put a parking structure there.
Don't even know.
There you go, design one of them, parking garage.
They get up in that hurdle, you don't know there's riprap underneath that hurdle. Oh, they think they can drive right up. They're big old rocks in there. You ought to hear them swear out. Okay, thank you, Joe. Anything else that you need, or?
Nope.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Thank Ruth for me too, please. What a battle we had today with that computer. Getting some plans. Let's do item number 4, pay council. Knock that one out here and get everybody settled. I'll accept the motion of the pay council, the mayor, and treasurer.
Hey, council.
Motion made.
Hey, the mayor too. And the treasurer. Pay them all, a whole lot of them.
Motion made. Second?
Second.
Yeah, I know, I'm like that.
Randy,
Go, Randy, go.
Second no of the evening.
Yes.
Motion.
Randy wants to stay.
Wait, there's no executive session? That almost never happens.
Happened last time too.
No, there was a brief one last month, wasn't there? Wasn't there one last month? Because I remember sitting and talking to Stacy. At least at one of them, I think.